Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Intentional Optimist Unconventional Leaders podcast guest speaker series. Today, I have Carrie Schmidt with me. Welcome, Carrie.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to have this conversation. For those of you who may not have listened to the podcast episode this week, Carrie's my guest for episode 112, which is called Where There's a Will, There's a Way. And when you listen to it, you'll understand exactly why we've titled it that way. Carrie is all about purpose and understanding your will and being very intentional about what she does. But Carrie, for those who may not have listened to that just yet, because it's like 112 episodes, some people are catching up.
Sure.
Can you just give those who haven't met you yet a little bit of background as to who you are?
Yeah, so my name's Carrie Schmidt. I'm an author. I just recently published my first book called Behind the Screen, Uncover the Truth, Connect to Your Power, Passion, and Purpose. And it's kind of like me pouring my soul out onto pages. And within that book, I teach a 7-step life timeline system of transformation of how you can identify unconscious behavior patterns or self-sabotaging habits in your life today, apply this system to kind of overcome faulty programming that we pick up through childhood and adolescence, because I tell some real raw truth in my book. And that's why it's called kind of Behind the Screen, because I think that we need to let down the walls and we need to express ourselves and be more vulnerable to spread more love and light in this world. And so that is my goal. My vision is to reach, teach, and transform over 1 million lives globally by helping people raise their level of consciousness. The supercomputer in our mind is really, really powerful. And mental health awareness. I think that mental health is the most important health. We need to be talking about this. I am a life and business success coach, so I help people gain clarity of purpose, overcome limiting beliefs and those faulty programs, and really reprogram their mindset to attract greatness and live a life that they love. Too many people are going through the hamster wheel, just taking it as it comes and dealing with life and not really enjoying the gift.
Well, we just had recently our fall festival, and there was at least one zombie there, and it's like, this little girl walks up with her arms out like this. It's like we do kind of walk through life on autopilot, right?
Yes.
A little bit zombie-like. And on that note, I want to just take a brief little side journey here and say, for those who may not understand the coachy language of consciousness, what would your definition be?
Awareness. Okay.
Sure.
It is your awareness to the oneness that we're all connected. I mean, I can go down the rabbit hole and talk about consciousness because I'm an advocate for raising our level of awareness, understanding the power of your mind. Okay. We have a conscious and a subconscious mind, and we are conscious about 5% of the time. 95% of the time, we are walking through life on autopilot. So I think it's so important for people to understand that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And that's all there is energy. If you break everything down to the subatomic particle perspective, it's all vibrating.
Yeah, my son's in the middle of that right now. He's like, these have different levels of energy. And I'm like, yes, they do. Now you're getting it. Yeah. Well, and, a lot of people will say, or I actually say the very first place to start for personal growth is awareness. It's like you have to be aware that you need something.
That's right.
You have to be. And I love it when people point out how much of what we do on a daily basis is not in our conscious mind. It's back here.
Yes.
People say, well, I don't want to have habits. Like, honey, you have habits.
We all have
them.
Yeah. And we're conditioned, we're conditioned since childhood to believe certain things about ourselves, about other people, about the world around us. And sometimes that conditioning may not be true. It may not be serving us, 30 years down the road. People exhibit these unconscious behavior patterns that negatively impact their relationships, their health and well-being, their career progression, their financial stability, all of these things that people, might struggle with. You can overcome it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's really where my passion is, helping people just like pinpoint, let's overcome these things. You don't have to continue to manifest the same relationships and, continue to have that trauma in those relationships because you're reliving a past experience with your present partner,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. Or even just in your own personal growth. Like for somebody like me to say, I'm having to let go of a lot of my pre programming, and it's not
Mhm.
all bad, right?
Right?
Everybody has an axe within the awareness that they have at the moment, right?
Mhm.
So anything that I could say in my culture or my family or my parents, those were things at the time that both they had awareness of and I had awareness. And that's it. That's all we had at the time. And if we didn't know any better, it's now time when I'm aware of them to change them. Right. So
Yes.
until we know about them, we don't want to beat ourselves up and say, oh, I did all these things wrong
Mhm.
so many times. That's not the point of understanding. The
Right.
point of understanding is saying, oh, now I know. And I
Mhm.
have the ability to change them. So
That's
you have a book that I haven't read yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But in the book, you outline and you just tagged it really fast, and I wonder if anybody caught it. The seven step life timeline system of transformation. Um,
mm.
so why don't you walk us through that, and that way people can get a better understanding.
I would love to. So the 7-step life timeline system of transformation is becoming aware, raising your awareness
Hmm.
to what's going on in my life. Okay, so what's our life timeline? It's from zero, from birth until
Hmm.
today. So I'm 40 years old. I have 40 years of memories, experiences, emotions. Now, your subconscious mind, let's I want to preface this. That's why in
Hmm.
chapter 2, I talk a lot about the power of the mind and explaining the power of your subconscious mind. Because what people might not realize is that your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imaginary. Ding,
Right.
ding, ding, ding. So it generalizes. It'll take certain things from what you're aware of today, and it's almost like a computer code. And it says, oh, I remember this. And then so it takes you back to what was coded in your subconscious mind. And that's why a lot of people react or have these emotional triggers, right?
Hmm.
And so you have to understand where that falls in your life timeline. So, step one of the 7-step system is to tag it. I'm going to tag any unconscious behavior patterns, self sabotaging habits. Tag it means I'm just going to become aware of it. Okay. I'm going to say, Houston, I got a problem. I might be contributing to the situation. I might be
Hmm.
showing up with this unconscious behavior. All right. So let me get curious about it. That's step 2. I'm going to remember. So I'm going to go back in my life timeline. And this is usually childhood, adolescence. All of
Hmm.
my clients, I can ask a question and they'll tell me exactly when
Oh yeah.
they were introduced to this first type of behavior, way of thinking, way of reacting.
I
Usually
can do
it was
that.
modeled, sorry.
I can do that, right? It's like,
Yes.
and we can smell it and we can sense it and we know exactly where we were in the room, all of it,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, that's how powerful our mind is because it
Mhm.
captures this image. So you can go back there and say, I was bullied, as when I
Mm.
was 6 years old. For me, it was my parents got divorced when I was 8 years old. And this was the first sense of insecurity that I had, not having a stable family foundation. So in my book, I tell my own personal stories of struggle and trauma to teach this system to the readers. So
Mm.
I go real deep and sometimes dark because there's dark places that, we as humans might find ourselves in, but there's a light and the beauty is, I kind of let down the walls and tell these stories so that other people can realize that, hey, I'm not alone. If I'm depressed or anxious or,
Mm.
I'm thinking about suicide, you're not alone. And these are
Mm.
real conversations that we need to be having. And so I feel like God prepared me to have a voice and to stand up and speak up and try to shine light onto the areas that might be dark and say, it's okay.
Mm.
It's really okay.
Mhm.
But your life can get better and I can
Yeah.
show you how. So, step 2 is to remember it from the first experience and then also remember any patterns of that same experience happening again on your life timeline. So for me, and there's a visual in the book, so I actually draw it out, and it's kind of like hanging your clothes out to dry. So I say at 8 years old, my parents got divorced. At 14 or 15 years old, I was in a relationship where my family abandoned me because of the person I was dating. And so each like kind of I pin the clothes up on the clothesline. You can see each experience that I'm remembering that same type of feeling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then that leads us to step 3, which is to feel it. Now, when we're kids, we're not taught how to regulate our emotions. We're not taught how to deal with our emotions. Okay.
No.
I'm a business coach, so I go into businesses and teach emotional intelligence and conflict resolution and effective communication. Why we're not teaching this in elementary, middle, and high school is, but I just,
Yeah.
So
They're not aware.
if anybody's listening, I want to teach this to high schools, colleges. I want to bring this work in. So reach out if you're interested. So step 3 is to feel it. We need to feel the emotions that we felt back then that we didn't know how to process, because our subconscious, our central nervous system kicks into fight or flight, which is our stress response. And typically we will suppress emotions because we don't know how to deal with them. You know, you might be taught you can't cry. If you're a boy or whatever, you can't cry. That's the worst thing you can do. Emotions need to be felt. They need to be expressed. It's energy. So if we just suppress that energy, it stays stuck.
Yeah.
And
I say it like a tea kettle, right? It's like the as it starts whistling, you know, like when you heat the tea kettle up, it lets it, you got to open that lid to make the steam come out so it stops whistling.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
The
Or
tea
have you
kettle.
ever used a pressure cooker?
Yes. No, I have not. Actually, I have not.
So I was raised in the era when we actually did canning, like the old days. And when I was raised overseas, we were in Korea, and my mother used to can. We'd get fresh vegetables and she would can them. And we had an old fashioned pressure cooker that would sit on the stove, and it had that little thing on the top, and it goes. Can you hear it? It has that little, you know, that sound. And you knew that that was letting the steam out so that it could pressurize what was in there and it would cook faster. But if you didn't have anything that was going to let that steam out, it would just go, all the steam would come out. So I kind of like, I'll put a tea kettle on. My dad always has a tea kettle on. I'll just show my son, this is what happens. You got to let it happen, or you got to let the wind blow through the screen door. That's another one I use. So feelings like that, you're right. We have to feel it, but we have to remember they're just feelings.
Yes, exactly. And just let them go. So then step 4 is to flip it. We're wired and programmed to see life through blinders. So I only see my point of view. I don't see anybody else's, right? We walk through life like this. No.
Yeah.
So you have to flip the perspective. I use my dad and my mom as an example because when I was little, they fought because my mom, this was in the 80s. So my mom was going out to get a job, and my dad would get mad that she was going to get a job, wear skirts to work. I don't know. I was like 8 years old. I just remember the fighting. And so that was the reason why they got a divorce. But my mom would tell me stories about my grandfather, my father's dad. And him and my grandmother came over on the boat from Germany. My grandmother never got a job. She raised 7 or 8 kids. And my grandfather died early, so I never met him. But my mom told me he was a mean old German. Okay, so now I'm flipping the perspective to look at this side of life through my dad's lens of life. So he was raised by a mean old German where the mom didn't go out. She never got a driver's license, never got a job. So now, you know, fast forward, let's say 20 years, my dad's in a relationship, has kids, and the wife is trying to go get a job. And he's like, no, this isn't right. You know? So this is an example of how you can flip the perspective to try to see life through someone else's lens, through their conditioned mind and what they picked up, because we can pick up these faulty programs and then we pass them down to our kids unconsciously. So this is why it's so important to raise our level of awareness and to be conscious that, you know, I can't blame you or be mad at you for the way that you were raised and the programming that you picked up. So this is why it's important to flip it. And that's step 4. Step 5 is to release it. Okay. What are we releasing? Energy. Suppressed emotions that we have, I talk about in the book, I built walls of steel around my heart because I
Yeah.
had my heart broken so many times by a terrible relationship I was in, right? And so I had my heart broken so many times that I learned how to not care anymore. I learned how to build walls around my heart. And I say I cut my heart chakra off from the world.
Oh, sure.
But true, it really
Take it
was.
off. Yeah.
And so many people can relate to this, and that's why I talk about it. But that doesn't serve us. It does not help us be better people. It is, it's shutting people out. It's not good. So we have to do the work to release that energy from the past. If it's past heartbreak, whatever it might be, that trauma, we have to get it out and release it from our energy body. So I have a whole chapter on releasing suppressed emotions.
Well, and I'm going to jump in here because that's what I do. But I think too that from different traditions, there might be a forgiveness aspect involved in order to do that. I don't know if that's included in
It
that
is.
part of it,
Yep.
because many times we have to think about, how do we offer forgiveness in a situation where, like you said, just basically it sounds like it was abusive, or something like that. But sometimes it's not even the forgiveness of external stuff, it's the forgiveness of ourselves.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of that conditioning, we pick up certain conditioning until we're a certain age, and then it becomes our own, right? Then we basically are starting to own it and buy into it and perpetuate it. And so for me, a lot of it was I had to forgive myself for certain things. So in order to release, sometimes that has to happen. But I think that's really important.
So important. There's hypnotherapy. There's many different methods to release this energy. And so I talk about that in the chapter. So step 6, this is where the work gets fun. Okay. And I tell people, you cannot go to reprogramming your mind until you've done the work to get rid of the shit from the past. Excuse my language, but it's true. So step 6 is to reprogram. So once I've done the work, now I am aware I have the power breathing me that's greater than anything. So I help my clients connect to that power and identify their passion and purpose and vision. So this is where you're creating a vision for what you would love your life to be. Okay, I'm getting over these unconscious self-sabotaging habits, and I'm going to start rewriting my brain and my awareness. So this is visioning and reprogramming what you would love to have in life. And it's so powerful. It works. It's kind of like the law of attraction. Anybody who wants to say it's woo woo, I say just go educate yourself, because there's science that backs up spirituality now. And it's true. So it's just, sometimes you have to open up your mind to new possibilities, because there's invisible forces of energy out there. And Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla tried to explain it to us back in the 1900s. It's the root of life, guys. So that's step 6.
Well, and you could say it's body, mind, and spirit, right? We are not just one. We are physical, we are mental, and we are spiritual. That's just the way it is.
That's right.
Like it or not, that's just
it's facts. I mean, so step 7, now you can't do step 6 without step 7. And I think this is where people lose the, I can vision all day long and I can repeat these things to myself all day long. But if you don't resonate in the energy of that which you want to attract, then you won't get it. So step 7 is to resonate. And that is whoever it is you want to be in the future, or whatever it is you want to do, you have to put on the energy of that person right now. So I'm going to show up as if I am a sold out speaker, best-selling author, and I've been interviewed by Oprah in her Maui garden. Okay. So I'm wearing that energy now. I am so happy and grateful that these things have come into my life, because I'm able to transform people's lives.
Right.
This is resonating in the energy of that which you want. And it really works if you work it. You cannot doubt your dream or goal, because the doubt in your own mind will kill it in the universe. Okay. So you have to believe without a doubt. You have to have burning desire, grateful expectation, and then take action. So I tell people vision, decision, action. You can where there's a will, there's a way. You can have anything.
Yeah.
You just have to do this. So if you do this work, the last thing I say is you have to rinse and repeat. Okay. There's a rule. It's called the 21-90 rule. It's 21 days to break a habit, 90 days to reprogram a new way of being or living. And so kind of rinse and repeat. It's like washing your clothes and hanging them out to dry on the clothesline. So anytime I experience or I notice an unconscious behavior pattern, you're going to go through the 7 steps again.
Mm.
And what's really cool is I offer a 12-week coaching program, which is called Master Your Mindset, Heal Your Soul, to take this work deeper. So when you
Mm.
read the book, in the back of the book, there's a journal, which is so
Mm.
super cool. So each chapter has a reflection. So you can write in the journal and you can apply the system to your life while you're reading the book. And then if you want to take it deeper, you can work with me for 12 weeks and we really go deep diving into this, reprogramming and repatterning your mind to manifest what it is you would love. And I love doing this work.
Your passion is extremely evident. I mean, it is. And that's one of the reasons why I like taking my podcast guests into this format because, just on that, when you're listening to something in your ears, or eventually we'll have some of them available on YouTube, it's different than when somebody is live sitting here talking, and to be able to see your passion for helping others. It's for you, you're like, even like, oh, excuse my language. It's like, that's a passion that's coming through, that
Yeah.
you care about what your clients are going through. And it's not even just your clients, it would be your readers, it would be those listening to you. It's all of us that are listening. And so I'm going to just poke in a little bit on some of these. What is the biggest roadblock that most people face?
Accountability, following through.
Mm. Okay.
Following through on the actions and, keep going, right? I say it's kind of like Pac-Man, right? It's like you're going, 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 going. It's like, I give up. You were
Mm.
right there.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Don't give up on your own personal development, growth, or anything else. You just have to keep going. So that's where I like to check in with my clients, hold them accountable. What's going through your mind today? Because we don't reach out for help as much as we should as
Mm.
people, right?
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
suffer in our own mind. We bottle stuff up. We pretend like it's not bothering us. You can't do that. You got to get it out. And if you just talk through it, man, it's just talking.
Shocking. It's just shocking how much better things get when you
Yeah.
just say things out loud. I've even learned, my husband is learning too, that I just say, I just need to talk something through. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And I'll just talk it through and be like, okay, I'm good. And he goes, okay, that's all you needed. I'm like, that's all I needed, was I needed to say some of it out loud. I needed to have it bounced off somebody,
Yep.
and it makes a difference. So is the 12-week program, that's a one-on-one coaching?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a group program, or do you have a membership, or?
I don't have a group program for that one. I do for a different one. I have a Dream Builder program. I do group coaching.
Okay. And there are lots of places we'll put in the show notes, or the comments and stuff, where people can find you, but you do have something else coming up pretty soon. A challenge.
Yeah, so I've been working really hard on this. It's called a 7-day Get Unstuck challenge. And I am promoting it for only $7.99 through the end of the year.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I have worked on this challenge for over 2 months. There is so much value that you're going to get out of this 7-day challenge. If you work this system, it'll work. So if you feel stuck in emotionally exhausting relationship and you're just like, oh, maybe you feel stuck in your job, it's not fulfilling, it's not, serving you. If you feel stuck in your own over analytical, overactive mind,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is you feel stuck in, this challenge is for you to get unstuck.
That
And
sounds
so I'm
great.
really excited to launch this.
Now, is it available now, or is it
It is. So if
available?
you go to that link, you can actually enroll in the challenge today.
Okay, so we'll put this also in the comments so that it's clickable.
Cool.
But either way, we can go to carrieschmidt.com, carrie-schmidt.com. I'm sure there's something up there that says challenge you can click on. Okay.
Online program.
Excellent. Online program. So this is the Unstuck Challenge that, because how many people want to be unstuck at the end of the year? We want to start the new year in a way that is free and ready and I don't know, just primed to go. What are you hoping people get out of this Unstuck? Is it just that? Is there any particular person that you said it was like for anybody stuck in any of these areas? But that feels really broad. Is it really that broad?
It's really that broad. I mean, if you feel stuck, it's helping you raise your level of awareness to why. Why am I stuck? I'm a root cause problem solver. I go into companies and I can help transform your company because I get to the root cause of the problem. So it's identifying why. Why do I even feel stuck? What's holding me back? So I help you get curious and conscious of that so that you can start applying tools and mindset shifting strategies to help you really get out of that mud hole or whatever it is.
Yeah. And we can all relate to that when you're walking through mud and your shoe gets stuck and you keep walking.
Yeah.
You can get your shoes back, ladies.
That's right.
And the book Behind the Screen is available on Amazon.
Yes.
And is there anything that we've left out today?
No, I don't think so. I am just happy and grateful to be here to hopefully share and spread some light in the world, and let's just join forces and make this world a better place. It's just
you absolutely do. And I am thrilled to have met you, and I am thrilled to continue to work with you. And we will be sharing this information in the comments so that you have access to it, everybody who's watching. And again, if you have not heard Carrie's story, it is on episode 112, which is called There's a Will. Where there's a will, there is a way. And you're going to want to check that out because she has a good story. And that's only part of it. And it sounds like the rest of it is in her book. So you're going to want to get her book. It sounds like something that's really good to go on a Christmas list. It's time to do that. So, go to Amazon and make yourself a list and then share it with your family and add Carrie's book in there. Until next time, thank you all very much for joining us on the Intentional Optimist Unconventional Leaders guest speaker series with Carrie Schmidt. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you all for listening. God bless you.
Have a fabulous day.